with fear. I'ma fight for you, you know I'll be right here. When the cure for us is the only light we'll see. Yeah, you gotta play your part to stay at home for me. If you wanna come so bad, just cover up or that. Social distance, yeah, that's how you play your part. If you wanna come so bad, just cover up or that. Social distance, yeah, that's how you play your part. Yeah. If you wanna stand with us, all you gotta do is stay home. I'ma need you to stay home. Fight with us and stay home. If you wanna stand with me, all you gotta do is stay home. I'ma need you to stay home. Stand with us and stay home. Yeah. If you wanna stand with us, all you gotta do is stay home. I'ma need you to stay home. Fight with us and stay home. If you wanna stand with me, all you gotta do is stay home. I'ma need you to stay home. Stand with us and stay home.
Go through the hardships in your house. It is better that you live in this world. Your maker out there has the most for you. So please stay home.
And I gotta make it home to my family. Yeah. And staying home is the only way to help me. Yeah. And you can't wash your hands if you can't just sanitize. And together is the only way we'll rise. If you wanna come so bad, just cover up all that. Social distance, yeah, that's how you play your part. If you wanna come so bad, just cover up all that. Social distance, yeah, that's how you play your part. Yeah, if you wanna stand with us, all you gotta do is stay home. I'ma need you to stay home. Fight with us and stay home. If you wanna stand with me, all you gotta do is stay home. I'ma need you to stay home. Stand with us and stay home. If you wanna stand with us, all you gotta do is stay home. I'ma need you to stay home. Fight with us and stay home. If you wanna stand with me, all you gotta do is stay home. I'ma need you to stay home. Stand with us and stay home.
Your maker out there has the most for you. So please stay home. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Make it very easy for everybody. Because we all have our families. We have been happy staying with our families back home. But we are out here working for God and country. And then for you. So please stay home. Don't make it difficult for us.
So make the beat go. Wig it.
Okay, so hello there once again. Welcome to another session of CSR Lense. My name is Oniwa Brown, and of course, this is what we've been doing for the past 6 weeks. This is the 6th episode of CSR Lense. This is the platform where we discuss corporate social responsibility and sustainability from a holistic perspective. Well, today we are looking at achieving SDGs, a look at the STEM Woman Project. So when we talk about STEM, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So STEM is important because it pervades every part of our lives. Science is everywhere. And of course, in the world around us, technology is making a lot of impact in our lives. If without that, we wouldn't. Even with COVID-19, we wouldn't have survived. You and I wouldn't have survived. So technology is making a lot of difference in our lives, in every aspect of our lives. So at the moment, there are lots of discussion about how we can expose our young ones, the youth, to these areas, so that we look at whether they can stay in, and looking at the prospects for jobs as well as staying in the field of work. So, however, the challenge has been concerning this subject has been the fact that even though there are women who are in this area, it's very difficult to find a lot of them as role models to serve as role models to our youth. And so that's where the discussion has been. How can we get a lot of women, a lot of young girls to be part of these areas in terms of mathematics, technology, and science? And then also, how can we get corporate organizations and NGOs to be advocates for these areas? I know the likes of Mrs. Shelley Tonikum of Vivo Energy, they are doing a lot when it comes to that. I know Voltec is also supporting some initiatives along the line. So we are looking at how we can get NGOs as well as corporate organizations to support the advocacy for our young girls to look at these areas, because of course there are a lot of prospects when it comes to science, technology, mathematics. And so today, this is where our discussion is going to start from. We're going to look at a project that is being advocating for STEM over the period. And my guests who are going to help me do this discussion is Richmond Anim Damwa, who is the CEO of RAD Communications. And then also I have Lois Efua Damte, who is a doctoral researcher at the Open University UK. So she's an engineering, a PhD student, an engineering student for that matter. And so the two of them are going to help me delve deeper into this discussion. So once again, welcome. This is CSR Lense. I'll plead with all of you who are watching at the moment to please share the link on your platforms so that we can get other people to join in and also take part in this very useful discussion. So hello, Richmond and Lois. Welcome to CSR Lense. Hi.
Hi, Ohima Brown.
Ohima Brown.
Hello. Good to see both of you. How are you doing?
I'm very fine.
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. So let me start with let me do the ladies first thing here. Lois, I know the 23rd of this month is World International Engineers Day. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah. I'm looking for some great collaboration. Actually, I registered for the conference that Richmond and RAD Communications are having. I feel it was a great initiative, bringing all African women in engineering together. So that's one of the plans I have. Then here in the UK as well, it's actually like a very big celebration where we get to go on conferences and put some stuff on display and present our research work, as well as connecting with professionals on the field as well. So that's what I've got planned for the day.
Wow, great.
Yeah.
All right. So by way of education to our audience as well, so the day is set aside actually to raise the profile of women in engineering, and also focus attention on the amazing career opportunities available to girls in this industry. So this is what the International Women's Day for Engineering is all about. Now, let me find out from you, Richmond, the STEM Woman Project. How did this come about? Why are you interested in STEM?
Okay. We are interested in STEM because, over the past 5 years, RAD Communications has been organizing events for women, especially during the International Women's Day. So this year being the 5th year, I had a discussion with Anita Eskin, who happens to be the co-founder and a partner for the STEM Woman Project. And then instead of doing the generic kind of conference where we bring tertiary women together, and then we have they've been taught or being spoken to by top women in engineering and top women in life generally, we decided to rather have a focus for the conference. So instead of just having a general conference, we decided to have a focus in terms of delving into STEM. STEM because STEM is the future, and then STEM is one powerful thing that we need to look at too, because it has a lot of things. It does a lot of good, and then it does a lot of good things to our lives. You could see that because of technology, we have been able to do a lot of things because of science, because of engineering, because of mathematics. A lot of things are happening in our lives that on a normal day acts wouldn't have done so. So STEM is something that we need to pay very key attention to. So Anita Eskin and myself decided to rather form the STEM Woman Project as an NGO. So it's a registered NGO in order to advocate for girls and women in STEM, inspire, encourage, and create a platform where young girls can be mentored by great women in STEM. So you could see that our projects like the STEM Woman Project we did earlier this year on the 5th of March in partnership with the Ministry of Communications and a couple of sponsors and partners was focused more on bringing young girls all over Ghana together to talk about the subject. And it was very insightful and very inspiring to see young girls doing robotics. The young girls who won the robotics championship were there, and it was very inspiring. And these are somehow technical things which by some few years to come, through innovation and all that, we'll be using them. When you get into a building, there are lifts and all that. All those things are technology. All those things are science. All those things are engineering, and then it helps and makes life easier. So we decided to just focus on STEM, and we decided to then develop projects and initiatives which will help us achieve our goal in this game.
Great. Now, I know we will be coming into some of the things you're doing at the moment, but let me find out from Lois, very important one here. Lois, lots of studies have indicated that it is very difficult to find women in these areas. I mean, when I talk about these areas, I'm talking about I'm talking about hello, Lois, can you hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
So I'm asking that a lot of studies have indicated that very few women are seen in these areas in terms of technology field, in terms of engineering, where you find yourself at the moment. At what age did you develop interest in this field?
I think for engineering was right after senior high school.
Okay.
And it wasn't like by default, like I knew I really wanted to do engineering. So what I knew was, science things affect your way of life when you're growing. So I did science back in Laboni Senior High School. And what I realized was that I wasn't really too good in biology. And obviously, if you really want to continue good with biology, obviously you would go into physics and chemistry. And the physics and chemistry's measure possibly was an engineering field. So that passion was stemmed out of like life happenings, if that answers the question.
Okay. So now I know also that it is a very male-dominated area. I mean, we've acknowledged that fact already. How did you?
Yeah.
I mean, are you able to stay within the field, knowing that when it comes to some of these areas, sometimes it can be intimidating a bit, and sometimes has there been any moment of doubt for you in terms of succeeding in this field?
Oh my days, I think I get that lapse and that almost every day of my life in the field when you find yourself in new ventures. But I think I found myself amongst them so much so right from senior high school, we're about 4 girls, about 41 boys in the science class. So continuing in the engineering field, where I was the only girl amongst about 20 boys, I didn't really see it as something so huge. Obviously, I always say that growing up, we found ourselves that boys were the ones fixing things at home and stuff like that. So they are more vexed with things that have to do with their hand and maybe the electronics. If I talk about capacitor or something to do with the fridge, really and truly, we the girls don't care. Even if it has to be with fixing light bulbs at home.
Hello.
They'll always call the boys to come and do. I think finding myself in that niche, I needed to learn and unlearn things. And probably I'll say that the engineering back.
Hello, Efwa. Hello, Efwa. We lost you a bit there. Hello. All right, so I guess this is technology. We are discussing STEM, and this is technology. So I beg your pardon, please bear with us. If you just tuned in, this is CSR Lens, and my name is Ohiniwa Brown. I have with me Lois Efua Damte. She is a doctoral researcher at the Open University in the UK, and then also we have Richmond Enim Damwa, who is the CEO of RAD Communications. I have lost Efua at the Richmond. What are some of the projects that you're working on, initiatives that you're currently working on under the STEM Woman Project?
Okay, so with the STEM Woman Project, currently we are working on June is 23rd June is International Women in Engineering Day.
Exactly.
So at our end, we decided to use the platform or the opportunity to focus on a branch or let's say a branch of STEM, that is engineering, and then the focus remains women, as we've always been. So we came out with the Africa Women in Engineering Festival, which will be a virtual program. We launched it yesterday, and we are looking forward to a series of conversations, celebrations, and collaborations as part of the program. So it's a virtual program, all right, but we are looking forward to having a very great experience throughout the program. So on the 19th, we have the STEM HRs Forum, where we have HRs in STEM-related organizations speak to, let's say, our audience and then our social media people and all that for let's say a period of 2 hours regarding building a career in STEM, looking at opportunities for girls and women in STEM and all that. So basically for the STEM HR forum, we'll focus on that. And then we have the 23rd, which is the International Women Engineering Day. We'll have a global conversation on engineering. We are yet to get some few confirmations with some partners, which will come up with flyer and all that. But that conversation will be led by Anita Esken with some women in engineering. And then on the 30th we'll have the STEM CEOs conversation. So we're going to have conversations with Mrs. Georgette Barnes Sechiado of Georgette Barnes Limited and Rosie Fine of Busy Internet regarding STEM CEOs, what CEOs are also doing to help us achieve the Sustainable Development Goal 5 when it comes to STEM. So, and then on that date, we are looking forward to launching the Ghana STEM Awards, which will be an awards program for STEM personalities, STEM companies and organizations to encourage people to keep on doing so.
Okay. Now, Richmond, I want to find out from you. What are you also doing? I mean, you've mentioned some of the things you're doing in terms of the engineering branch of your initiatives. what are you of your initiative? What are you doing under science, maths, and technology? How are we getting the young ones who are in these areas to excel? I mean, based on your under your project.
Okay, so as part of, let's say, Rad Communications has let's say, a business affiliate, which is the STEM World Media. So STEM World Media runs hand in hand with our STEM Woman project. So the STEM World Media is currently working on the STEM World magazine and a couple of STEM related things to get people engaged in in that area. And for the STEM World, we are looking at making it more like the vehicle to help us achieve our goal as STEM Woman at the STEM Woman project. When it comes to the various aspects of, let's say, STEM, that is science, technology, and then mathematics, we have the STEM Woman project, which is more like a generic STEM program. It focuses on every aspect of the STEM. Now, because we started this year, we have plans of having some sort of high school kind of STEM class and all that. These are various ways we are going to really engage these young ones, inspire them, send out the message of possibility and all that for them to know that it's possible. You can go into this field and really succeed. So those are things that we are currently working on for our young girls and all that.
Great. Lloyd, you were talking about some of the challenges or the doubts you've had. I mean, in this male.
Sorry,
we lost you along the line. That's technology. That's the main reason why we are having this discussion. Very, very important.
Yeah.
So I'm asking that you were talking about. Yeah. You were talking about the fact that, I mean, this is a male, we all acknowledge the fact that this is a male dominated area. And that is why even under the SDG Goal 5, which we'll be coming back to that, it talks about how we can make girls very, very much inclusive in these areas. How are you able to manage this particular challenge that you have?
Well, that's what I was saying, that I think every step of the way toughened me up. So from senior high school, where I found myself in 40 boys, 4 girls, we came to understand how the science setting is. So right from basic school, you realize that the science structure almost always had boys. Moving on to the university, where I was the only girl as well among boys, I think the science training for 4 years sort of became something or somewhat not very normal to me. So I think finding myself right along the way to the master's degree and now a PhD, where, I mean, it's almost always in a place where you always find men. In our internships and all of that, if you're posted to, I did an internship in an engineering company, and I was in the engineering unit. I was the only girl. Even there was no changing slots for me to change, so I had to wait for the boys to actually change. Then right after, I would change into that my female wear. So it's like every step of the way of topping me along those terms. So yeah, if you really, really want to do this, you find a way around it.
Did you have role models? Did you have people within the field that you looked up to? I mean, me, for instance, as a PR practitioner, I have a couple of people, I mean, several of them that I look up to, that I would want to be like them and even more than them. In your field, did you have people that, especially women, that you looked up to, or you had to look up to men?
I had to look up to men. There was absolutely no woman on top of my head that I had ever seen do engineering. I mean, I was part of maybe back in age, but now,
Okay.
Hello. Efua. Hello, Efua. Hello, Efua. We lost your sound a little bit. Okay, can you hear me now, please? Okay, we can't hear you. All right, so if you can hear me, I'm basically asking, and I know that you started answering this question, but I basically wanted to find out from you who you were looking up to when you started this journey. If you can hear me and if we can also hear you. Not at all. Unfortunately, we cannot hear you. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you just tune in, this is CSR Lense, and my name is Ohinewa Brown. I have with me Richmond Enim Damwa, who is the CEO of RAD Communications and also a partner to the STEM Woman Project. Today, we are looking at how we can achieve the SDG goals. Looking at the STEM Woman Project, which is an initiative by a group of partners who are advocating for some support for young girls within the areas of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And these are two guests have been helping me with the discussion. Now, let me find out from you, Richmond. I don't know why I keep calling you Richard anyway. Let me find out from you now. You were talking about some of the initiatives that you are coming up or you have for these programs, I mean, under these areas. Do you have particular schools that you're working with in terms of senior high schools?
As at March this year, earlier March this year, we had around, let me say, around 20 schools, if I'm not wrong, but 20 schools which we touched base with, who also participated in the program. We had schools like African Science Academy, we had DPS, we had Ghana International School, we had Akosombo International School, we had a lot of international schools. We had the Methodist Girls Senior High Schools. We had a lot of schools which participated in the project. So we touched base with them, we connected, and then our next program was the national tour, which was the STEM Woman National Tour with the Ministry of Communications, and the COVID-19 came in, so we had to hold on, and that's where we've gotten to when it comes to the young girls. We had a national tour where we are supposed to partner with some organizations in various regions. We took 5 regions: Kumasi, Takoradi, Cape Coast, Tamale, some regions to visit and all that, to have STEM projects and STEM discussions with young people during this long vacation and all that. But because of COVID, we had to hold on. So basically, that was our plan. We have schools that we've currently touched base with, which we are looking forward to building solid partnerships with them, creating the STEM clubs, and then also having the Ghana STEM Learning Center as part of our initiative to really project and promote the STEM initiative. It's not going to be some sort of an event which will happen and just go. No, we are working on it 24/7. So when it comes to RADCOM, we have affiliates. So affiliates in the sense that they are part of our business processes or our business models and all that. So we have the STEM Woman Project, which has a group of people working on it, and we have the STEM World Max, the STEM World Media, which has another group of people working on it. So it's going to be a full-time kind of thing, not a one-day event or a one-time project that then we take our hands off. No.
All right. So, Richmond, one of the observations I have made, and probably you would agree with me, is that when we come up with some of these initiatives, a lot of the time we overlook our young ones who are in the deprived communities. you would agree with me that even though there is some concerns about young girls in our basic schools or senior high schools taking courses within these fields, there are so few ones who are still interested in these areas. How are we ensuring that we are touching base with these young girls who are in deprived communities?
Okay, so we have an initiative known as the STEM for Girls in Rural Ghana. It was part of the project and it was part of the it was an initiative under the national tour. So with the national tour, we have a card we did for which we're supposed to take to the ministry and all that. So basically, we've thought of that, and then we've made sure we've developed models where we would get all these loopholes covered. So we know there are a lot of young girls when it comes to rural Ghana. A lot of people are there, but most often we don't pay attention to them. They don't get these opportunities that we give to these girls in Accra and
Exactly.
Kumasi and all that. So we have an initiative known as STEM for Girls in Rural Ghana. STEM for Girls in Rural Ghana. So that particular project or that particular initiative it has a strict focus on them, 100% focus on them. You know, what we are doing is we don't want to have more like we've thought through everything. We don't want to have just like an initiative which as and when we bring up something. No. We make sure in order to achieve a particular vision of ours, we create a platform, we create maybe a vehicle which will carry or which will take this vision to its destination. So basically that's what. So they are not left out at all. They are in our plans. We are supposed to visit Volta region, a couple of places, but because of COVID, we had to hold on for COVID to have its way. But we believe when things come back to normal, we'll move to these rural areas with a STEM for Girls in Rural Ghana initiative.
Okay, I know that these initiatives within our communities are mostly successful when we involve our community and opinion leaders. How involved are these individuals in any of these initiatives you've mentioned?
Okay, so we we are we are mostly we mostly make sure that, for example, we had some people from Takrade. We had one woman, I've forgotten the name, but she is a cement engineer. Yes, cement engineer. So she reached out to us for, as part of the initiative. We want to make sure we partner with people who are already in existence in these various areas. We are not going to create anything new. We are not going to, let's say, start everything from scratch. No, because these areas may not be our zone. So we need people who have been there for some time, then so that they will partner with us for us to achieve our goal. So one thing we believe in at the STEM Woman project is partnership. We don't achieve anything on our own. We make sure every little thing that somebody can bring on board for it to be successful, we don't deprive, we don't stop it. We make sure they come on board with it. So we are looking at, so if, for example, we are to go to Volta region, we definitely would engage the chiefs, looking at the structure of the project, because we plan on bringing the Ministry of Education and all those people on board. So COVID, in a way, has held on, but whichever way it is, it's a moving initiative. So for now, we'll engage all the various stakeholders who help us achieve the goal, because it's not going to be a one-time off event. No, we have a plan or a program where we track the progress of these people. We don't just leave them. No, we make sure we track them. So there are things we do, or there's going to be initiatives or programs or continuous kind of engagement with these people in order for us to know how well they are doing in that aspect of STEM that they've been encouraged to go into.
Great. All right. So let me find out from you. One of the concerns that we have, and I would basically try to read from the SDG Goal 5. And of course, the most important thing for my show is to how initiatives are trying to support Ghana's effort in achieving the SDG goals that we have signed on to. And so I am always and almost always interested in how initiatives that are people take up do try to achieve these SDG goals. So the major concern for STEM has to do with the gap, the gender disparity. How is your program or your initiatives under the STEM Women Project addressing this particular gap? Now, I would want to, by way of education, want to probably read some aspect of the SDG Goal 4, which talks about ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So the target 1 of Goal 4 says that by 2030, we should ensure that all girls and boys complete free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education, leading to relevant and effective learning outcomes. And then also the target 3 says by 2030, we should ensure equal access for all women and men to affordable and quality technical and vocational and tertiary education, including university. It says that, and the target 5, yes, says that by 2030, we should eliminate gender disparities in education and ensure equal access to all levels of education and vocational trainings for the vulnerable, including persons with disabilities, indigenous peoples and children in vulnerable situations. Let me move to the Goal 5, which talks about achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. It says, target 1, end all forms of discrimination against all women and girls everywhere. And the target 5B says that enhance target 6B says that, I beg your pardon, 5.6B says that enhance the use of enabling technology, in particular information and communication technology, to promote the empowerment of women at all levels. So how is your project? Because the most important thing is that women are not given, or first of all, let me find out from you. Is there any form of discrimination in terms of getting women in these areas? Are the men preventing the women in taking part in these areas? Have you come across anything of that sort?
Okay, so we grew up knowing very well that just as the old conversations around this thing, that why is your daughter not in school but your son is in school and all that. Those are old things, and they give excuses that the girl is supposed to be in the kitchen and all that. Those are, let's say, some sort of culture or some old culture when it comes to answering or when it comes to questions regarding gender equality in education and all these things. I don't think there's any prevention of young girls or women in venturing into STEM. But you see, we sometimes try to, let's say, intimidate women or girls when they decide to take up such roles or take up such courses. So when you're in secondary school, when I see a lady who is doing science, I'm like, wow, China, this lady like Akwewa being there whole lot of perception, meaning that on a normal day, a normal student or a normal
Sometimes very funny comments.
Yeah, very, very funny comments. So those are things that try one way or the other, it makes these girls or women begin to think, am I in the wrong thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? Unless the lady or the girl in question has strong conviction of what she's into. So for this, I don't think we are preventing, or men or boys are preventing girls from entering into STEM. but I believe we need to create equal opportunities in order to achieve or get more girls to get into it. Opportunities in the sense of mentorship, in the sense of exposure, in the sense of what do you call it? Give offering them the platform to get these things. Because when you don't expose someone to something, the person might never know what is there. That is why we don't want to even start a conversation of STEM in the tertiary. The conversation of STEM should start right from, let's say, kindergarten or at a younger age,
Yeah.
so that the passion of young people can be ignited in order for them to venture into it. But if their passion from the young age is not ignited, because I personally wish I did information or computer engineering. I recently went to take up a course at Soronko Academy in Python programming. You know, the whole game is okay. I want to go into STEM. I want to go into technology. I need to really build myself up. You know, the law of legitimacy. You cannot talk about something you've not successfully practiced, or you can't really lead something that you yourself you don't have so much, let's say, knowledge or some sort of this thing about. You know, some people can just go and learn something or read something and just come up with things, but that's not what we want to do. We
Right.
want to be a process. We want to be part of the thing so that everything we are doing is not just by thinking or something, but we are really in it to make sure we get it done. So ladies are not stopped or prevented. Just that sometimes we give funny comments. And these
Okay.
comments sometimes get them thinking if they are really in the right direction or if they are really doing the right thing. But some parents do, and when it comes to the side of parents, some parents really get their children to take up these courses. Because if my mom was to be an engineer,
Mm-hmm.
and from a very this thing comes into various factors. Various factors affects it: money, monetary, finance, all those things. So if you are not even from a very rich home, sometimes these courses, my sister, it won't even cross your mind to say that you want to go there, because even the school that you attended wasn't any school that they were teaching you anything. It was just like the normal school now. So just say, oh, I want to do home econs, I want to do general. But if you are attending a very good school, these schools would have, schools like GIS, Akosombo International, all these big schools, they have a platform where young people, young girls are ignited to pursue courses in these STEM areas. So it's a whole thing. This particular thing
Right.
can't just be tackled by one
Yeah.
person or one
Yeah.
organization. It's a whole
Yeah,
thing.
you're right. And that is why a lot of people are even arguing about the fact that maybe the gender disparity is not really about gender, it's about economic status of maybe parents. But let me find out from Lois. Who did you have in the home who was into any of these fields?
I think Richmond has said it all. Can you hear me now?
Who in
Yes.
your home
Yeah,
who in your home had any of or was working within any of these fields?
no one at all was working in this field.
Okay. And what were some of the funny comments that you got? If you would like to share.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think the one of the most painful one was a knock on my head by one guy in some industry I worked with that said, "What do I know? Like, we have been in this for a long time. I mean, you a girl, what do you know? Go and sit somewhere." Some of the
Wow.
some other things where I mean, obviously they'll seclude you and give you a secretarial work in the engineering field, something like
Yeah.
type or something. But as to
Yeah.
who fixes the stuff, then the boys will do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Boys will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you take these?
Well, I think with the knock on my head, I stood up for what I wanted, and with things that has to do with, so basically, if anyone tells, "Oh, okay, take the motor," and they want to like make a guy do it, I'll say, I'll carry it. If they are climbing ladders, I think there was one that was about a 10 feet boiler that we had to climb a ladder to, and they wanted a boy to go climb a ladder to pick up something. But I said, I'm gonna do it. I mean, what equally stops me what genetic makeup stops me as a person not to climb such a ladder? Equally, the way the guy can slip and fall, the same way a girl can slip and fall. So what prevents me from doing that? So I think most of the things that were around that wanted to prevent me from doing what they do, I'll question why you think I can't do it. Maybe you think I don't have the strength to do it. Then let me prove to you that I can do it. If equally I can't, then someone else can help, but not sideline me in that field and think I can't do it.
So, Lois, do you think that a lot of the time when women are faced with these challenges, especially in male-dominated fields, do you think that we give up? Like we basically, maybe if it's a more of a job that demands maybe strength and all that, we just sit back and think that we do not have the strength to do these.
Yeah, I mean, in all walks of even practicals and internships that I've had, anytime there's a girl in our midst and there's something, the boys agitatedly go and start doing it. Then the girls are always laid back, obviously. So there's always that thing where they always have the laying back. So then equally, they might not want to do it at all. That kind of thing. So really and honestly, people give up along the way, because if you also don't get that motivation to step up or do it, then inherently you might just branch into some project management or something that has got to do with you being by the desk or being by a computer and feeling all comfortable.
Earlier, before I lost you, you were talking about people you looked up to, and the fact that they were men. Would it have made any difference now if you had women to look up to?
I think it would have made great difference. Reason being that then it would have made me radically taking some ventures, because I remember there were things I really didn't take because I saw that there was really no woman to actually say you can do it, okay? Or someone has been able to do it, so do it. So typical example with that same internship, because it's one of the biggest companies in Ghana that I did it. And most of the women that were engineers were rather now probably like HR, or they weren't really on field. So if me as a woman looking at it, that I might want to venture into an engineering firm which has an HR wing, okay? So that I will seclude from being on the field and be by a desk. So really, if I had a woman that was really on field, I think strictly I would have used that as a reference to point out to people that she's on field, so why can't I be on field? But if it's a whole men being on field, then it's like it's a men's job, so they must be on field.
So now you have men who are motivating you. Are you going on the field, or you want to be in engineering and still be behind a desk?
I'm not behind a desk at all. I'm completely on field. I wear my blue, go on my field. Where I have to wear my white, I wear my white, go on. So it is. So if you see me as a person, just like Richmond was saying, then people are motivated seeing me as a person doing it. And because most of the ladies I see, they said, oh, Lois has been able to do it, so I'm going to do it. Or Lois is on the field, let me volunteer. Okay. So even if it's not one, you are reaching out to one person reach out to the other. So they're able to see that there is actually a woman who strictly is on field, who's strictly doing communal field work in terms of her research and lifting the ladders. So I serve as a motivation maybe to other women who know that they are in the engineering field, but they can still continue being strictly on the field or something. Yeah.
Someone would say that maybe even in a field like that, even though you would want to be on the field and work and be like a man, which you're supposed to be, because that is a job, and you're not supposed to be excluded when it comes to certain aspects of the job. People would also argue that, oh, when it comes to men, we are supposed to treat them like eggs. What would you say to that?
When it comes to men, we have to treat them
when it comes to women, we have to treat them like eggs. So maybe that's why they wouldn't want to see you lifting the ladder and doing all the very masculine jobs.
I think that's a very traditional way. That's a very traditional thinking back in age, where societal norms have curved around that, where women are treated as eggs. Equally, if an egg breaks and fall, I mean, if it breaks, it will fall. I'm not breaking, I'm not falling. I don't know what about my genetic makeup has to make me break and fall. Okay. So I don't know why you're treating me as an egg. Did I ask you to treat me as an egg? Let me break, make my own mistakes, and get up and and run equally as you are. So if we are in a field, or we are in an engineering firm, and all our safety protocols are intact, what prevents me? What genetic makeup prevents me from being able to do what you are equally doing? That I believe is a very traditional and societal norm we need to put behind us and move forward.
Why do you think that even though we have women in engineering who are in the HR field, yet they're not looking up to pushing women on the field? Why?
That's a question I actually really want to even find out for myself,
Okay.
because growing up and meeting them along the way, I tend to ask them those questions, and I think that most of the promotional roles promotes you from being the person on the field to the person in the office to man the things on the field, which equally makes sense, but that doesn't prevent you from going on the field.
Okay.
Okay.
Now,
So, yeah.
yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think it stems up, it stems out of passion. I think one of the things I really love to do, rather than sitting at one place and typing, or rather than sitting at one place and managing things, I will it's just fun loving to do things with my hands. And
Okay.
I feel a sense of motivation, sense of accomplishment if I'm able to do something with my hand and see it work. So
Okay.
probably it's preferential, everybody. Yeah.
Okay. Richmond, let me find out from you. You mentioned that you're about to have an HR session in one of your projects. How are you going? Are we going to get the women in engineering or women in STEM who are holding higher positions to ensure that they do not keep our ladies behind desk, but then push them on the field as the men are doing?
You know, this particular question is more like maybe I'm an HR anyway, but I personally believe it has more to do with the individual,
Yeah.
Okay.
because I personally believe that if you want to achieve something, if you want to go out for something, you don't sit back. I know there's this woman engineer, an engineer. I shouldn't say woman engineer. It's gender is wrong. So
Yeah.
an engineer who the check manager for Vortic, Nana Kunedu, you know, she is a woman. She's a lady, and you know when you get to Vortic Aquadum plant, when you see that she's geared up and all that, you know, it has more to do with the person. And these are people that when you ask questions about how did they get to the field, they will tell you, we kept on pushing, we kept on doing that, we kept, you know, most people are not so passionate about things as we perceive it to be. Sometimes people's passion for something are derived through money. Okay, so I'm doing this thing and I'm making money. So I then tend to feel that I have passion for it. No, it is because I am making money out of it. I feel there is passion. But passion really can be tested, or when it goes through fire, in the sense that you are not being paid and you are still die hard for it. So this thing has to do more with personality, people, they themselves. Because if I, Richmond, my junior brother, who is yet to complete senior high school, who did business, very intelligent. Now, how upon understanding this whole STEM thing, now I want to try and influence him to venture get into that field. He's being influenced by someone to say that okay, go and be a go and do accounting, become a bank manager. I'm like, hey, that field is choked. The best place you can go and you're even safer is technology.
Yeah.
You get it? So, it has more to do with the person. So women can be like, hey, I am advocating for this thing, this thing, this thing. It's mainly because maybe there's an underlying factor until when someone's engagement in something has to do with the person's experience or the person's background or something. Like for example, because your dad, someone will say, "Oh, because my dad was cheated and the land was taken away from me, I'll grow up and I'll be a lawyer and then I'll go and defend and take the land." That should be the mentality that our young girls should have. You should be passionate about it. You should know that this is something you want to go into. We are talking about STEM. People are posting about STEM. People are doing STEM. But how many times in a week do you even read on STEM? How many STEM organizations are we even members of, or are we even following on social media? We are just there. We just see it and we just click and we just feel like, no, we should delve more into it and the passion should ignite. You should connect with people outside the country, be connected more and all that. And I believe, Dr. Stella Jenimbuat in the HR of VRA, I asked her the last time about women in engineering in VRA. She said, oh, Richmond, we have a lot of women in engineering. When you look at Ghana Water Company, there are a lot of women in engineering in Ghana Water. The current president of the Women Engineering Ghana, engineer Dr. Mrs. Enyonam, she's the ICT manager for Electricity Company of Ghana. These are people who are on the field who are doing so well. Everyone like engineer Mrs. Harriet Emisata of ATA Energy Advisors. These are women who are doing so well. So it has more to do with their passion. It has more to do with, okay, I've been put in, let's say, an office to do something. But can I be innovative enough in order to show my HR that, hey, HR, this thing that you've placed me, but I still have passion for field. I feel like I want to do something. So, sometimes your passion can be seen from one way through the way you do your thing. So you must be smart in working. You shouldn't just be working and then you have a degree in telecommunications and you get to this thing and you're just sitting in the office. I know my uncle is a telecommunications engineer with Vodafone, and I know how good that particular job is. So it's more of passion. It's more of, if we shouldn't put money and all those things. So for our young girls, I believe they need to develop the passion for it. Either they are being exposed from the beginning through building. You see, when you see young people doing robotics, doing robots, developing systems, you are in Ghana, you can send money to UK through payment platforms and all that. All those things should make you thinking, should get you thinking that, wow, how is this things done? So it has more to do with the people, the individuals, than the institution. Because sometimes you apply for a job and you apply for an engineer, you apply for maybe finance manager. You do the engineering, finish, go and do finance, 1 year finance course with ICM, and then throw away, put aside the engineering, and then be focusing on finance. Ideally, the person is not interested in the field. So it has more to do with the individuals than the HRs. As for the HRs, if you are fit for the job, we employ because we need you to solve problems. Now, if I employ you and you can't solve these problems for me, then what's the essence of the employment? So it has more to do with the individual. If you can solve that particular problem, your gender, I think, doesn't matter. You would make it.
Yeah. There are slight things that I also want to add.
Okay.
Whatever submission you've given is great, but even with that, some of the expectations on the job, it all comes down to even the cultural setting, because I've had to, work on certain projects that really and truly I knew I didn't know anything about it, but I learned on the job. Okay, so if it even has to be with employing people, even if their capabilities are not right, we should create a serene environment for all of us to work as a team. That's why even in engineering, science, mathematics, we encourage teamwork. We encourage that people, irrespective, if there is a gender balance of 2:2, male to female, then they should equally be able to work as a team on that project and buttress everybody's weaknesses. So that wouldn't be like, okay, she couldn't do it for that, then the job I've given her, she's not capable of doing that. And also with the fact that it boils down to the individual, I believe that the family also, like I said, like you said, your brother, you allow him to go do ICT. The family is a major stakeholder in the upbringing of a child. So if we are growing up and things around us in the home, we allow males to fix the lamps, we allow males to fix the light bulbs, we allow them to be the ones to fix the refrigeration and stuff. We coin a certain thinking that males are specifically to do things that have to do with the hand, as I said earlier on. So this field is quite like a long road. It's a long road because it's not a one-time thing. Like, okay, you see, I'll use myself as an example. I wanted to be a banker because I saw fine ladies in the bank stayed with their makeups and their hair and stuff like that with a nice hair. And that looked good. That looked convenient. But the point is, who said you can be an engineer and still not look that good? So if our families were not supportive, I feel like every step of the way, I had to remind my parents about what I really want to do. It was after they saw maybe the success in that field that they started supporting, and that's an African setting. And it can be a very long thread. So I believe the family also, as major stakeholders in the bringing up of the child, should be given an education on the fact that engineering, mathematics, STEM fields are fulfilling and are yielding. And if they are able to see somebody who has done that, they are able to say, oh, Adwa Mansayebi. So that means ubetunyaye, osu sikabebasa, GGA. So I believe the niche we are carving, which is the African Women Engineering, that Richmond and the team, RAD Communications, are doing, is very great, because then I can point out people. Growing up in Ghana, I didn't know anybody on that panel that RAD Communications are bringing. And I'm like, oh, so she was an engineer. Oh, so this woman is, that kind of thing. So it's like, it's bringing out all the STEM women engineers after all. And now we have people to say, oh, they are they. And if our parents are watching back at home, oh, mommy, we're engineer. So as a son, engineering, maybe. Do you get it? So it starts from the family and the individual as well, and their minds will be tuning rather than say, oh, mommy, we're banker in Tikoye Bank.
Okay, Lloyd, how many?
So for example, just as you said, a very great submission, and just as it is. So we should mainly try and then inspire these young people, let them know that this area you can make it, and that sometimes they might not get the support from the family, which most often happens. So if I don't get the support from the family, I believe these young girls should just have personal conviction that this is something I want to do, and daddy, mommy, find very nice ways of convincing and letting them know. Sometimes they don't even know or understand the thing, but you try and explain it to them in their own language in order for them to support. So sometimes if your parents are not so, let's say, well-to-do, educated and all that, it comes with its own limitations and all that. But you that you are in school, the most important thing you can do for yourself is to believe in yourself, is to have the personal conviction that this is what I want to do, and then you build yourself up for it. You don't just leave it there and you're waiting for someone to, otherwise people will keep on discouraging you. Your parents can encourage you, you walk out of the door and somebody will discourage you, and because of that you go and tell your mommy, oh, me, I don't want to do it again. No. So you yourself need that personal conviction in order to achieve or really become successful in life personally. In life, dear, if you want to succeed, you need to have that personal conviction. No matter what people say, keep on doing what you believe in. And I believe that's what will also help our young girls in becoming successful instead.
Great, great, great. Now, Lois, let me find out from you. When you were in tertiary school, can you recall how many women were in your class?
I was the only woman in my class.
Oh, great. I see.
Yeah.
You were the only woman.
Yeah, I was the only woman. Then I think 14 boys. We started off with 20 boys, but every step of the way, if your GPA is lower than 1.5, then you are sacked from the engineering school.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. What, in your view, can we do to bridge the gap, the gender gap? What should we be doing? What are we not doing right?
I think the very first thing is mentors. And that's one thing the UK is doing, really doing in terms of how to bring women on board in this engineering. They are championing women mentors in the STEM fields. So linking one person to a mentor or two people, like I have two mentees, and they are people of in quotes lower backgrounds here in the UK, just to tell them that someone from a developing country could actually have achieved this high. So if the person who is here with all the facilities could actually aim higher, okay? So they've paired up quick plan of actions, pairing mentors to mentees. I'm helping you every step of the way to still keep you on that track radically. So they do something called triple science. So the triple science is the biology, chemistry, physics. So my mentees are two of them are in biology and two of them are doing physics strictly. So they are looking at doing something in terms of biomedical engineering or something like that, and making it more fun. So they are trying to find ways of making the STEM fun ways.
I think that is one of the things we are missing. We make it look too intimidating
and abstract. I mean,
exactly.
So, yeah, one of the things I really learned is how to use. Now I'm very conscious of how to use things around me to explain simple science. Okay. So for a woman, I know how to relate to a woman. So if you've ever in your life never, and these things are mind-boggling because even when we were kids, they always used to buy us dolls and they buy them airplanes.
Yeah.
Okay. So they can they can remove the top of the airplane off, dismantle it, and still know where the motors and the batteries are. Okay. Yeah. So I take those little fun things around us to be able to make them visualize more. Okay. So even in terms of me, I think one of the things women have been trained, like growing up, not to be able to see things visually or touch things and do things. Hi. That kind. So one of the ways is also creating that fun science niche or fun engineering niche, since we are way behind, and also incorporate it. And one of the things so that I get a lot of ladies asking me is attaining higher heights in STEM, which can be very long and people can't really see it, then they wouldn't get to marry, or they wouldn't get men to approach them, because then they are really not the usual kind of girl who is all slayed up, that kind of thing. And that narrative also needs to change. It's a fallacy. Like, I don't know where that is coming from, but
I think I saw a comment that says that there's a perception that women in these areas are even not are undateable.
I mean, I can't even imagine where these are coming from. It's like the ideal way is that as by the age of 25, societal norms, by the age of 24, 25, 26, a young girl should start thinking of settling down. Okay? And it has been created as a benchmark. I don't know who created that benchmark.
The lady benchmark.
The lady benchmark. So the ladies in the field are thinking, okay, the easy way out, if you're done with university, you're probably about 24 to 23. Then now get a job, a usual kind of job. And now by 25, 26, you should be planning to get married. Quick. So this field can be quite a lengthy one. So really and truly, I don't want to venture into it. I want to find the easy way out of it. And I mean, the men, you can help us. what about us makes us undateable? And let them support the vision in the terms of changing the narrative around these things. And that, putting conducive measures in place for that gender disparity can also help in solving problems. I think one of the SDGs is also looking at why girls are married in early, like they marry them in early, so they start getting a lot of responsibilities and now finding the easy way out of things. So rather, they don't get the full potential to blow out in that aspect. So I think as much as we are solving the mentor mentee side, number one, we are solving changing the narrative of allowing women in STEM to fully blow up and fully experience themselves. And whoever has that thought that you can't marry is a lie.
Richmond, how are we doing with the mentor-mentee approach? Quickly, so we can wrap up, please. How are we doing with the mentor-mentee approach?
Can you hear me?
Yes, please, Ken.
Okay, so with at the STEM Woman project, what we are doing or looking forward to really expanding to do is to get a lot of women in STEM on board. Now, so we are looking at partnerships with women organizations like the Women in Mining Ghana, Women in Engineering, Women's Engineering Society in the UK, like just to partner so many people, companies, organizations. So when you get to, let's say, Vivo, Shell, Mrs. Shirley Tony Coombs advocacy in STEM that which is doing so well. There are a lot of women there. When you get to VRA, there are a lot of women there. When you get to Vortic, there are a lot of women there. What do? We create the platform to get these people. Sometimes when you give someone a mentor, the person, because of young age, immaturity, and all, might sometimes not know how to manage and keep things. So what we are doing is, it is the truth, is the fact. When I give you a mentor, sometimes I don't get the opportunity because I'm young. I might not know how to really relate to the person. So our strategy is not only about giving you a mentor as a young person, but also making sure your mentor is available for discussions when we have projects or initiative or programs.
When it comes to mentor-mentee relationships.
Yeah. So I mean, I can give an action.
So a lot of people don't know how to manage that.
Okay.
I can give an action plan to that. So what we do is that monthly, every month, you need to have visited your mentor has to take you to any place apart from school. Okay. Just to every month or once every 3 months, you need to have gone out, have a interaction. Like ideally, we understand that those kind of people don't really know how to interact. So we set up games, fun games. We set up maybe go on the park or even give you a 100-pager essay. Then we talk about the essay or something not relating to anything engineering. It's just the person having at the back of the mind that you are an engineer. I really want to be like her. She's really nice and all.
Yeah.
So not necessarily strictly when we meet, we are doing strictly anything STEM. We are doing fun activity, and we report back to the institutions that we work with. As in, what's the interaction? What happened in terms of the interaction? How were they interacting and all of that? Even if they don't happen, and the thing is that even if they don't happen to even ever venture into STEM fields, it's still a way of upbringing of somebody in the right way, sort of, in quotes.
Okay. All right. So yeah, which one?
Okay. So just as she said, it has more to do with character and all that. It might be a brilliant thing we all want to achieve, but we also need to have in mind that these women who make themselves available for you to be mentored, to mentor you and all that, equally have so many things they are doing.
To do.
Equally have privacy. Equally have like so much. So, our character as young girls when we are engaging these people is also very important. Just like you engaging any mentor for anything. You don't just jump. So there are various ways, just as Lois said, not necessarily being always the serious arena, but I believe with partnerships and all, we can create a very holistic platform where all these things can be achieved. We are currently planning the Ghana STEM Learning Center, which will be an institution where like there's going to be so much that's going to happen at the Ghana STEM Learning Center for young girls, for young people to come spice up your. I know in the UK they have the National STEM Learning Center in the UK, where
Yeah.
there is a very big facility, a very inspiring facility. In fact, when you get there, you yourself you'll be like, Charlie, I want to go into technology. I want to go into those are the kind of things I believe we should get or have in order to really inspire a lot of people to go into this field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the last thing to even add, I think that equally, all actions we are taking are very intentional to change the narrative.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they are strict things that if it's a call to even mentor a mentee, everybody has to go way out of their means to offer
Yeah.
to, and it's
To
very
help. Yeah.
setting out an intentional time to do it. Else, it's been long overdue. It has happened. Now we are trying to change it from a norm to something free and fair. So there'll be a lot of intentional things and strategy we have to really, really take to make it happen. And I think RAD Communications is doing very great with that by even starting up rather than the talks. Now there are actions.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you. Yeah.
We are tired of the talking. We need to be doing actions, and that is very, very important. Now let's go through the comments. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, if you just tuned in, this is CSR Lens. My name is Ohino Abraham, and my guest, Lois Ofuadamte, who is a doctoral researcher at the Open University in the UK, and then Richmond Dam, who is the CEO of RAD Communications. We've been having a discussion on how we can achieve the UN SDG goals through STEM projects. So we have the STEM Woman projects, and that is what we've been looking at, and how we can assist or increase the advocacy in these areas. So far, the discussion is what we've been having so far. We have a few comments here. Emmanuel Dazi Abeka Kwanza says STEM is a very good initiative, guys. Thank you, Emmanuel, for watching.
STEM project. So we have the STEM Woman project.
So
That is what we've been looking at, and how we can access or increase the advocacy in these areas. So far, the discussion is what we've been having.
okay.
So far.
Is someone watching anything?
Emmanuel Dazi Abeka Kwanza says STEM is a very good initiative.
I'm getting the feedback.
Thank you for watching.
Okay, so Samuel Abayate says there's such an interesting discussion. Thank you, Samuel. Peter Finn says, awesome. Thank you, Peter, for joining the discussion. Samuel again says that my question is, are there any restrictions that prevent women from entering the sector, and how can those be addressed?
Hello?
Are there any restrictions that prevent women from entering the sector, and how can that be prevented, or how can that be addressed? Are there any form of restrictions of any kind?
Yeah, I think, Roseman, I made mention of that. And
Okay.
we spoke intensively about that,
Right.
about how the
Yeah.
cultural norms are even preventing it, how society also sees it, and how and you see sometimes the passion stems out of the people around you. So if the people around you are not making it very good, you realize that even the individual loses passion in it.
Exactly.
So the restrictions has to do sometimes with family, if they are not very supportive, if I normally don't put blames on the individual as much, because I feel someone can really push you to have it, and you will see it and be like, yeah, it's true, I really want to do it. And now when you develop, it will happen. So if the age capping, if it has to do with a woman, and all the things that we have set on our minds as women in engineering are undateable. I think I remember someone even saying that we don't know how to wear heels. And
I think the comments are very interesting. Let me go back to the messages. Dr. Aitondo, who was my guest, I think 2 weeks ago, he says that good way to go. Thank you, Doctor. Selena Nana Selen says way to go. Thank you. Interesting. That's coming from Mr. Teikiche. Hello, sir. Thanks for joining the discussion. Michael A. John says, great answers from you, Richmond. Thank you, Michael, for joining the discussion. Elizabeth Ameke says, awesome. Thanks, Elizabeth. Patience Ajekum says, interesting submissions. Partnership is key in achieving the SDGs. That's very, very true. We cannot do it on our own. We need to partner with institutions and individuals to ensure that we do achieve this collectively. Samuel Abayate again says, people even think women in science are undateable. They like stacking too much. That's true. I mean, so I recall when I was in school, a lot of the time when I'm sitting in class, and sometimes you even do your reading and come to class, and when the lecturer is lecturing, you are able to interact because you've already done your reading, and they see a woman doing that, like, really? I mean, so they just look at
it takes a lot to actually, we are always in the library and stuff, because trying to get things done. But I think that if the right guys who understand it are always supportive and even come and learn with you.
Of course, I totally agree with you. So Frederick Nudotor says that you're doing a great job, Ohiniwa. Thank you so much, Frederick, for joining the discussion. Patience Ajekum again. Wow. Okay, so someone says that solo is a for Ochrewa Damte. What was your motivation? I think Lois has explained to us what her motivation has been. Nesta Watson says that glad to see up and coming young ones like Lois Damte and others doing very well in their respective field. That is I'm very impressed. I mean, let me just clap for you. I think you're doing awesome. And we have more to teach our young ones to take up great bold steps to be very great people in society. Ohini Abuaji says that, someone says that I think how families socialize the young ones is very important. When you condition your kids well, they will embrace the sector easily. That is very true. Very, very true. Socialization is key. Don't give dolls to your girl child and give airplanes to the men. And don't ask the women to go to the kitchen and ask the men to stay in the hall and work with the television. We should stop doing that. These things have a lot of negative impact on our young girls and our boys as well. So as Elizabeth Ameke says, exactly, ladies need to believe in themselves. The girl power, you need to believe in that. Patience Ajekum says, Lois, I admire your courage.
Thank you, Patience.
You are impacting a lot of people, Lois. So I'm sure after this, we'll be looking at how you can also be part of the mentors on RAD's.
It will be a privilege.
Project, on the STEM Women Project.
I'll be touching Richmond on one side all the time. So when you put us on one platform, I was like, whoa, this is the doing of the Lord.
Great. So that at least you can also be mentoring our young ladies. I think we need that.
Yeah.
And I think that in every field, in every sector, you need people who you look up to, who can shape your thinking and who can also help you grow and develop yourself. Thank you so much, Lois. Do you have any final words to share with us?
Well, I always say final words. The STEM Woman Project is an amazing project that the RAD Communications have started. If you're a lady here and you're in any type of STEM, do join in on the 23rd of June and make it a point to be intentional about the things around you. And also just about now, I'm also having a scholarship session where I'm training people on how to apply for scholarships and in terms of internships and all of that, and master's education, and PhDs, and all that. So take up these roles and go out of your niche and make yourself a better person. And that's to everybody, actually, even not just people in STEM. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Hello. Hello.
Make yourself a better person. That's to everybody.
We have a
Hello.
concluding remarks from you, please.
Okay, so what I would say is that we should all know that whatever we want to do in life is possible. Nothing is impossible with God, but we also have a role to play. That is to be very intentional about everything we do. We shouldn't take things by chance. We should always be intentional about things. So personally, what we are even doing at RAD Communications is to also train STEM communicators. Is to just to get our people, or let's say, RADCOM, we have a campus branch which is the Switch EBS, to get them to understand STEM, go deeper into STEM, but they are doing communications. But how do they blend the two? We are looking at raising STEM communicators as well. So everything is possible. Anything at all is possible if we believe. And that's all that I want our viewers to know, that everything is possible. Let's get it done.
All right. Can you take us through the programs that are coming up again, so that we can have our people joining and participate in that, please, briefly?
Okay, so briefly, we have the STEM HRs forum on Friday, Camp Friday, that's 19th, with Anna Ashiokai Akron, that's the HR for Vodafone, and then the HR for VRA, Dr. Stella Jenin Boating, and then the HR for Danone Farm Milk, Dr. Hazel Barra. And then on the 23rd, we have the STEM International Women in Engineering Day, which will also honor women in engineering in Ghana. So it's going to have like the celebration of women in engineering in Ghana. We're going to come up with a list kind of to celebrate women in engineering in Ghana, let them know that we are really inspired by their work and hard work. And then we have on the 30th, we have the STEM CEOs Forum to have discussions with STEM CEOs and also launch the Ghana STEM Awards on that day.
Great. I'm sure CSR will be there to support you as well. Sure. Thank you so much, Lois and Richmond, for your time. Thanks for sharing these insightful, sharing with us some of your insights on some of these things. We're very grateful, and my audience is grateful to have you all here. So this is where we end our discussion on CSR Lens. Let me just remind all of you that if you are looking for a place to purchase any form of accessory, be it mobile phones, computers, or repairs, look no further. Just call on IT Care, located inside Dansoman, and they will be able to sort you out. So IT Care can be reached on 0244844616. Once again, if you need accessories in terms of computer, in terms of mobile phones, in terms of repairs, any form of installations, please call IT Care, located inside Dansoman, opposite the Wesley Grammar School, or you can reach them on 0244844616, and they would be able to sort you out. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining CSR Lens once again. We will be here same time next week to have another great discussion on how we can contribute to the development of Mother Ghana. My name is Ohinewa Brown. Let me just entreat all of you that COVID-19 has not left us. COVID-19 is still with us. So let us be very, very alert, be intentional about your actions, and make sure that you stay home. If you do not have anything to do outside, or ensure that you put on your mask, because our numbers, as we can all see, is going up, and we have a role to play in ensuring that this virus is being we win the game, the fight against this virus. My name is Ohinewa Brown. Thank you so much for your support throughout these productions. I'm very grateful, and thanks to my production team, Kingsley and the others who have been helping me with the things that I do here. This is CSR Lense. See you same time next week. For now.